Good afternoon, Dolphins fans. Welcome back to another edition of Dolphins on Five. I'm David Eversole, joined, of course, by Alfredo Arteaga. Before we jump in, obviously, it's a huge week for the team traveling to New York to play the Jets. We want to start off by mentioning one of our fantastic sponsors, of course, Prize Picks Daily Fantasy. We've got Thursday Night Football tonight, a pretty interesting quarterback matchup, despite the offenses for both teams having been down. We'll have a little more on that after the game. Alfredo and I will both have our plays for tonight. So make sure to sign up and use promo code FIVE. You'll get a full deposit match up to $100. So Alfredo, man, good to be back. It's Jets week. A lot to talk about here in a few minutes. So just give us your thoughts going into the game. I know we've got a few things on the injury front to discuss. So what's the latest leading up to Sunday?
Well, they have an opportunity to go 4-1 for the first time in 19 years. That's pretty good, right? Right?
Yeah, amazing. In this division too, you got to keep up. I thought Buffalo would maybe drop that Baltimore game. That was a big late swing that went against the Dolphins. Maybe in the big picture, but yeah, it's a great spot to be in. Especially where we were after Cincinnati. Just like everything's right in front of the team. So yeah, I'm pumped for Sunday.
Yeah, all they need is like relative health. I think the only one to really worry about, and you asked me about the injury report, the one I will really worry about is Xavier Howard. He hasn't gone this far without participating all year. He's shown up on the injury report many a times, but now he's showing up on the injury report with groins, plural, and he hasn't participated so far. This team seems to have a no practice, no play policy on Thursdays. So, although that hasn't applied to Melvin Ingram or Teron Armstead because those guys get vet day rests, but I would say that like this is something to monitor. But on I guess is what's good news is that they haven't gone out to sign anybody to the practice squad yet. So that kind of bodes well for Xavier Howard playing. But as of right now, I would really monitor what's going on with Xavier Howard. Keon Crossan also did not practice. He has a glute issue. I do expect him to play. Brandon Jones was wearing the red non-contact jersey. That he was participating is a very good sign, which means that he'll probably play. He has a chest issue. So Xavier Howard is the one to monitor. That's the most important one to monitor. Tyreek Hill showed up there with a quad. The team just tends to report every single thing. Jalen Waddle returned to practice, so that's really good news. So it's all about Xavier Howard right now. That's who you're monitoring for the next couple of days.
Yeah, and hopefully the pass rush in the front seven can take a little bit of the pressure off the secondary if X is limited or can't make it in this game for some reason. But the secondary depth has been tested for this team all year, and they've had their ups and downs. But I mean, against the Jets, I still feel pretty confident in their chances against a young quarterback that likes to take a lot of chances in Zach Wilson. So, what do you think the approach might be in terms of helping the secondary out a little bit in this matchup against Wilson?
Well, Zach Wilson had his troubles against the Steelers, against the blitz. He was 3 for 10 with an interception against the Steelers. He was sacked twice. So I would expect them to try to use some pressure packages against Zach Wilson. And this is a game where the defensive line just has to put it upon themselves. They're good enough. They're paid enough. The way that this defense has been constructed and the way they invested in the offseason by getting Trey Flowers, by adding on Melvin Ingram, I do expect this defensive line to dominate and be the catalyst in this game. Like they have to drag the team across the finish line in this one because they can't win the game by themselves. If they dominate their matchups, they should win the game for the Dolphins alone by themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I think this could be a multiple turnover game for Wilson, and I'm looking for the front seven, especially with the defensive schemes. I think they're going to throw a lot at him. I know the Dolphins are obviously a very blitz-heavy team, but if they could get home with four guys and give him a lot of confusing stuff, dropping seven back into coverage and giving him a lot to look at. I think there could definitely be a lot of opportunities for guys like Javon Holland there in the secondary. And then on the other side with Holland also coming off the edge, the Dolphins are one of the best teams that I've seen in recent memory in terms of just bringing defensive backs in and pressuring the quarterback. So, I'm really excited to see kind of what Boyer dials up in this game. So, what about the offense? What do you think about Teddy Bridgewater and his mindset going to the game? I know he's had past success against the Jets, so I know they have also a pretty formidable front four there in New York. So, what are you looking for in terms of the Dolphins to help Bridgewater in this one?
Well, I like that he mentioned that that he can't be Tua, and just like and when he was in New Orleans, he couldn't be Drew Brees. That he's just going to be himself. That's good that he's in that mindset because the last time that he was in this situation, the last time that he was a true backup was to Drew Brees in New Orleans, and he came in for an injured Drew Brees and reeled off 5 consecutive wins and performed really, really well in the process. I expect that. I expect highly, and a very highly efficient Teddy Bridgewater, and I expect him to play within the program and on schedule. And that's the key term right here: is on schedule. Stay within the play. You don't have to extend anything. You don't have to do anything extraordinary. Just do what is being asked of you, and it should be enough. But the Dolphins, in the bigger sense, if you're looking at the bigger picture, it's about time they start developing this running game, and this running game starts to pay some dividend. And I would expect it to begin on Sunday. Like after Sunday, if the running game is still not on track, you could begin to look at it with a critical eye and wonder what is going wrong and with those units because they're going to need it down the stretch, especially as the weather gets worse.
Yeah, and I think you're not going to have such a limitation with Bridgewater in there. I think there's going to be plenty of big play opportunities. Obviously, I think Hill's longest play from air yards actually this season was from Bridgewater. So don't just think they're going to go into a shell in this game. I really feel like there's going to be some creativity, maybe some stuff we haven't seen yet, in McDaniel's bag in this game. But I agree with you. I think the running backs are going to have to start to get more involved as the season goes on. And it's curious to see the situational running. And like you said, keeping them in favorable down and distance, getting, good positive yardage on the early downs is going to be key. But also the play action opens up, the entire offense for this team. And I think just having guys like Waddle and Hill, in space and in motion with the Dolphins' motion-heavy approach, they're just going to have a lot for the Jets to try to process back there. But everybody's excited for the MetLife takeover. Obviously, Dolphins could be 3-0 in the AFC East, which is a tremendous, obviously, advantage as the season goes on with tiebreakers and such because they've beaten the quality team. So they need to beat a team that's on a lower tier in their home stadium, I think, to really kind of, with a backup quarterback, obviously, to show that they're kind of making those steps. But a few days ago before that. So tonight, obviously, we're going to look at this matchup for Thursday Night Football between the Broncos and the Colts. So turning it to Prize Picks, who do you like tonight in terms of this matchup, Alfredo?
Well, I was really surprised to see this on the board. Jonathan Taylor is not playing. Javonte Williams is out for the year. Both teams come into this game limping as far as the running back groups are concerned. And it's Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson, okay? And both have numbers at 230 and a half, okay? So 230 and a half passing yards. I say take them both, and I say take them both over. So I really like this play. I'm making this play myself tonight, and that's pretty much all I like for tonight. I wouldn't touch anything else. Although you were telling me before we were on air that you kind of liked Melvin Gordon under his number.
Yeah, his rushing number went way up to 64.5. I know, obviously, he's the number one guy there, but I just don't see the game plan, just all of a sudden just, feeding him the ball 17, 18 times. They're a middle of the pack rushing team anyway, the Broncos. So I'm going to stick with the under, despite the jump. I think the jump obviously helps you actually on the under. I mean, if you look at him, now he's going to be the clear number one. So these numbers are surely going to go up. But I think it may take a game or two for him to kind of establish himself in terms of volume. And in this game, like you said, it might be the two quarterbacks throwing it all over the field. And I like Matt Ryan over. Now it's at 21 completions. So, you went with the yards, and the yards is a great number too. So I like him also on the completions at 21 for Matt Ryan. And Russell Wilson, what do you think of him over 20?
Over 20 completions, Russell Wilson. I'm not so sure because I think he's gonna try to push the ball downfield a little bit more. That's how
Mhm.
he's been trending that way the last few games.
Yeah, he's
So
been pretty much
you know,
under that mostly.
yeah, and that's usually a key. When you think about guys that are going to get into the high 20s or over 20, those are guys that are going to, for lack of a better term, dink and dunk their way up and down the
Mhm.
field. I don't think that's Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has been trying to push the ball the last couple of games. So I'm not too hot on that number. I don't have an opinion one way or the other on 20 for completions for Russell Wilson. I think it's right on the number, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're usually pretty close in terms of the completion numbers. They kind of trend out over time if you look at them historically. But I do like Gordon actually over this 12 and a half receiving yards. I think he
Yes.
can catch a couple dump downs and get that number, pretty quickly. So I went actually with Gordon over 12 and a half yards, but under on the rushing yards of 64.5. So what do we have for 3 yards per carry leading up to Sunday and the rest of the Dolphins content?
Well, we dropped our extended episode last night. Everybody's it's getting rave reviews. Everybody likes it. We have a very long discussion on the Tua concussion
Oh,
controversy to
God.
start the show, and then we close with our preview of the New York Jets on Sunday. So you could get that right now on our feed, and of course you could get the extra yard also on our feed. We drop the audio version every single Monday. So go check those out and check out our latest. It came out last night. We came out a night early because it was an extended episode. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it. It's getting rave reviews right now.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So make sure you check that out and like and subscribe our content as well at the YouTube channel. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll see everybody over the weekend leading up to Jets week. Thanks, everybody.